What's up, people? Me again. Just a real quick update on my straw bale garden slash back to Eden combination plot. Kind of let this thing go and do its own thing, but everything seems to be okay. This cranberry hibiscus is just insane. As you can see there, it's starting to go to seed, which excites me a great deal. I've already pruned it back, and so things have split off and sort of done their own thing. But I'll be harvesting more leaves off of this to dry out and make tea, as well as seeds to add to my seed collection, seed saving and all that. Cucumbers have fizzled out. This is just disgusting. There's a couple little ones left in there and stuff, but we've got a real bad problem here with cucumber worms. I don't want to spray anything, so I'm just going to let that go. I'll probably pull them out eventually. I recently planted a bunch of mint in here to make use of this bale. I don't see any of it coming up yet. These are lima beans, and they are flowering nicely, so that should take off, and maybe I'll just have some mint and some lima beans in there. No big deal about that. These tomatoes are doing good. I haven't staked anything or really gotten in there and cleaned anything up, but still healthy. This is a nice big heirloom variety, rainbow tomatoes, I believe. It looks like some snails or slugs or something have been getting in there, caterpillars, and trying to eat it up, but no worries. There's a few big ones in here. Tomatoes are doing good. A whole bunch of basil. Looks like we got some rust or some kind of weird fungus kicking, but the basil's all around the bottom. I'm just going to let that go, and it'll bush out. And once I trim some of this back, we'll have a ton more basil coming through. But this is Thai basil. It's so aromatic and amazing. I just love it. On this third section here, we've got some onions going. I had a watermelon. It looks like it's getting eaten up. I'm going to toss that away from there because it's just going to attract more bugs. But it was hanging on the side of there, and I pulled it off, and then it fell off. The watermelon, some of these vines are just not hanging on, so another struggle. It's been a little bit hot here, and my sprinkler timer is failing on me, so go through batteries like every single day. So I'll probably have to adjust my sails eventually and get an electric based sprinkler timer to keep things flowing. A little bit of damage here and stuff. Nothing really happening. A whole bunch of growth in this back to Eden plot. A lot of this is just vined from that bale there. The onions are doing okay in there. I just recently planted a couple of romaine bases from the store, and hoping those will reproduce some lettuce for us. We'll see. But basically this is just a good experiment, I think, to see, what methods work. Not necessarily that anything is working well or producing majorly, but the stuff that is growing in this back to Eden section, which is essentially just wood chips on top of manure. If I dig in here real quick, that's just beautiful stuff. All the wood is keeping things moist, even when it's not watered. So I sprinkled a whole bunch of wildflower seeds, some other little volunteer dandelion stuff like that's coming through. But yeah, this actually works really well, this back to Eden method. So my plans eventually, we aren't planning on staying in our home for far too long. We actually intend on selling it and getting a little further away from civilization, and hopefully get a nice little chunk of land that I can make a food forest. I've been very inspired by quite a few people on YouTube and what they're doing with this back to Eden gardening. I believe this is a giant pumpkin, and that looks just really healthy. Huge leaves. Some of the older ones are getting chewed up by the bugs and stuff, but You know, I think once we get away from this, you know, pest-laden community and get further, you know, into the wilderness, doing back to Eden plot like this will just bring major abundance and lots of production. So that's what I got going here. It's messy, it's ugly, but I mean, I'm living in a sandy area and nothing really grows well in this sand. But when you add some wood chips, a few layers, you get some serious growth, taking things back to nature and doing things the way nature intends, sort of mimicking the forest. So this is a good experiment for me. And although, you know, the production isn't as great as my straw bale garden was, it's still very plentiful growth. And we should be reaping the rewards with some tomatoes and things like that, lots of basil, maybe a couple of pumpkins. Although Halloween just passed, that's no big deal. I like to eat the seeds and make pumpkin pie and all kinds of good stuff like that. So I'm just going to let this go. Not even going to worry about watering it too much, you know. Put the hose on it every now and then, try to get my sprinkler timer going. But it's a great experiment. And for what it's worth, it does work very well. It just needs a little bit better maintenance from me and a little more time. But that's the gist. That's my straw bale back to Eden garden. I think we're at about 8 weeks here since planting all this from seed. And it's looking pretty darn good. Can't complain, to say the least. Alright guys, hopefully everything's well out there. Get growing. Peace.